Damn it. I'm getting old. Bada bing, bada boom. Lots of things. Man, this is all. It's all tangled. It is all tangled. Wait, how do I? I'm confused. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Standing on business. Then about beam and then do 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 do. How do I get this in there? There we go. Yo, yo, yo. Wait, can you all hear me? Hold on. Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and pants and boots. How are you? How are you all today? I don't know. You know what? I just don't think the hood. Don't think the hood's doing it today. I really don't. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. I want to make this awkward for everybody. Hold on. Hello. I'm getting old. I think my jaw is slightly out of alignment. Look at see, the two. Oh no, 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 that might be good. We don't know, huh? Hello, hello. See, the mouth is starting to deviate. We're getting. Hold on. Hi everybody. It's Persuadable, aka Mad Eyes. Get it? No pun. Get it? Cause Mad Eyes. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry about that. How are we all doing? Is everybody doing well? Is everybody taking care of themselves? How are you? Do you have any cats? Share the pictures with me on my Discord. So, um, you all are being very awkward right now. I feel uncomfortable by how all of you are acting right now. And you should be ashamed of yourselves, actually, because as a geriatric, I feel uncomfortable, quite honestly. Um, I feel like if I didn't have the greatest of balance, but I needed a cane to walk, I feel like I would compromise that to lift my cane to kick your ass with it because you all are just being awkward. Weirdos. Anyways, how are you all? Are you all doing good? I would like to apologize for how I just acted right there. If I were to apologize for every, that was my old self. And I feel like since that moment that just happened, I feel like I've grown. I feel like I've improved myself, and I'm not going to issue a public apology, actually. I would like to take back that brief apology that I was about to attempt. I've grown since then, and if I were to apologize, like I said, for everything that's happened in the past, it would be many streams, uh, like Mrs. Quattrochi in third grade. Um, there was definitely a time where I was an asshole to you, and I would like to apologize to you. And Mrs. Titus in second grade, I stole your calculator. Um, I was nervous about the little math test that we were about to have, and I definitely blamed another classmate. I actually went up to you and I willingly told you that my classmate Ben stole the calculator. But I felt like if I preemptively did that, that I would be uh, sort of like accounting for my steps. And I actually this is in second grade. I went above and beyond that. I actually put the calculator in the backpack. uh, Ben Ritchie, I apologize to you in second grade. That was me. Um, I feel I feel so much better actually because I was able to get this off my chest. I've been harboring this for like fucking like 20 years. But I feel better now. Letting out the dark past. It feels good. Anyways, how how are you all doing? I'm gonna read chat now. I'm sorry. Do you want my mic up? I feel like my mic is pretty high. Is it not? Okay, I raised it up. Can you hear it better? Are you all doing well? How are we all doing? We doing well? Brooke, Inna, Leora, how are you all? Funky little boy Betty. Hi, little boy Betty. Hope you're doing well. Peace Spice. How are you, Peace Spice? Shim, Iggy, Petite, Funky. Hope you all doing well. How are you all doing? Is everybody doing well? I'm glad to hear that, Brooke. Genuinely. I appreciate it. And apparently a lot of people are sharing the stream. I can see that. So everybody who's sharing the stream, I appreciate you. I've been off live stream for a little bit. We've been preparing for this tournament. It's going to be a pretty big tournament. We have 64 teams. I'm unaware of any tournament that's ever been this massive. So we have a lot to accommodate for. Um, One of the biggest things is we're trying to learn graphics. We have software that's in development right now to make it easier. There's so many things that are happening. There's so many people who are involved in this. I can't even begin to thank them all. But they'll have their roses. They'll get their flowers. So if you don't know what that means, it means that they'll get the respect and the credit they deserve eventually. So, do you think Mike Hunter is going to be picked in COA tournaments? We'll see. We'll see. I predicted this a long time ago. I said, when the Hunter first comes out, give the new Hunter about 1 month after he's released in rank mode. So we're not even there yet. Give time for the survivors to adjust. Be careful about the sensationalism. And that doesn't mean that he's not overpowered, right? It just means that historically, usually a lot of interpretations in the first month often end up being wrong. This is the case with Dream Witch. Um, it was the case with Mad Eyes, which I was wrong about Mad Eyes in the beginning. He's been nerfed like 12 times. That's probably a little bit of an over exaggeration, but not too much. Um, so you get it with every Hunter release. There's always been an ebb and flow. So you have to give survivors the opportunity um, to adapt. And I know that NetEase, that's what they wait for traditionally to see if that adaptation kind of catches up. And then if not, they'll nerf them a little bit. Um, Sounds like they had this issue with Sangria, in my absence. So I don't know much about that other than what I've seen. So, but what I can tell you is that if you're a multi-billion dollar corporation and you're trying to convince the masses to purchase a hunter, typically you're not going to release a very underwhelming hunter. So, we have to give it a little bit of time. Just a little bit. And we'll see. So, let's see what we got. Hi, Persuade. Why did you asterisk my name? What does that mean? What does that happen when somebody asterisks my name? Persuade, can you do a psychological analysis on Acrobat in the story? I don't know much about his story. Somebody would like to explain that. Do you think this will get NetEase's attention? I don't really give a fuck if it gets NetEase's attention. That's like me going to the gym worrying about whether I'm going to attract a woman, you know? You know, that was me maybe at 20 or 21. At 34, I'm going to the gym so I don't die. Yeah. So we just at this age we just do shit to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember at 21, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna find a motherfucking wife. Yeah! 34, I'm like, don't die of heart disease at 50. Come on. Like, there's so many pets that I need to pet throughout my life. Like, 60, I'm okay. 50 is just a little too young for me. Come on. Persuade, can you say hi to Lee and Victoria for my friend? Hello, Lee and Victoria. You have a very good friend. What tournament is happening? We have the biggest Identity 5 tournament happening tomorrow, actually. It's not going to be on live feed. The first round is going to happen off feed. And there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to learn through this process. The idea is that by February, you got NAEU regionals, then all the way up until April, you'll probably have COA. And then after that, we're going to figure out, based on this tournament, exactly what direction we want to go in. Do we want to go into more of the, maybe producing an esports league? It's going to depend. Right now, we got to get through this tournament, see what sort of traffic it brings. I have received confirmation that some of the professional teams over in China are actually going to be watching this tournament. And if there's any credibility that I bring to my stream and to my content, I've never lied. I've never disappointed with that. And the reason being so is that there's never been an official tournament with Goatman. So this is going to be the first tournament ever in International League that has Goatman. And obviously, we have connections for various leagues, etc., especially with the rival. So there are going to be professional coaches who are watching the stream. They're very much so aware that it's a stream that's open up to all ranks, and they're very much so aware that this server doesn't have as many tournaments, but they're very interested to see some of the creative play style. And if anything, that should show respect to our server because there's professional individuals out there who are willing to watch, and that should be quite humbling. And again, we've already given them the disclaimer that we're still learning. We're not used to the global ban system either to its full capacity. So, and they're all very much so aware of that. So I'm very excited for such. So, this tournament is massive. And if anything, it shows to NetEase the amount of thirst and hunger that the server has when provided the opportunity. And I think that the players should be a little bit more relaxed than what they are because you're joining a tournament that is A, unsanctioned, B, that has rules that are, adopted from COA but that have never been enacted in tournament gameplay. I do think that NetEase will probably be watching, and I think that they're also going to learn from the stream as well, especially with graphic layouts and whatnot, because we're doing the best that we can. But at the same time, I've been gone for years, and so all we can do is the best that we can do, try to mitigate for as many hiccups as possible. And the only goal that I have is to get the tournament finished and done with, because that means that we went through with it, we followed through with it, and then from there we can learn from the mistakes, the hiccups, we can learn about the graphics, the transitions, we can learn about layouts and whatnot. So this is the first time not only does our server have the biggest tournament most likely in Identity 5 history, but it's also an opportunity for us to show gameplay for a system that's not even out there. So it shows quite literally innovation. So like if you go into the tournament custom layout, they don't even allow Goatman or I think Pharaoh. So not only do we have to use regular custom lobbies, we have to have graphics that try to compensate for such because those on the lobby screen it's not going to show all of the hunters and survivors that are banned. So now we must go through Discord as a tournament to make sure that the teams are understanding of what the bans are. because in the tournament custom lobby, it doesn't include the ability to play characters like Goatman and I think Pharaoh. So not only do we have to be the pioneers of this and show the first strategies of such without any reference whatsoever, but on top of that, we also must try to come out with custom graphics to make sure that we can represent on the screen so it's easier for the viewer to understand which survivors, hunters are banned as well as the maps, etc. So we actually have a lot going against us in this, and like I said, we have so many people that are involved. It's too big to stop. It we have 64 teams. 64 teams. We have people who have never played, never competed. We have players who are reaching out to others. This is a great networking opportunity for you to reach out to other players, survivors, hunters, especially if you're a solo player, especially if you're entering the tournament with your friends, but you may be a little bit more serious than them or less serious. It's too big to stop. How are they going to ignore it? But at the same time, what I have learned in this life, and I wish I learned it younger, like I said, I'm 34 and I mention that all the time. Eventually you stop doing things for other people's validation, right? And that's an important feature. I feel like there's a lot of you, especially a lot of the younger content creators who have learned this at a much younger age than myself. Because like when I started Identity 5 content creation, I 100% stopped giving a fuck about interpretations. Like quite literally, I was just like, this is who I am. And I don't think that I would have been prepared for that younger guy. I don't think I would have been as authentic, and I don't think that I would be to this day. So like when I come on live feed, you don't really know like what version you're gonna get of me. You're not gonna know if you're gonna get the more serious tone like we're doing tonight. You don't know if you're gonna get me with the Schmitty wig acting like a fucking ridiculous idiot. You don't know if we're gonna have like serious conversations, jokes, because I feel like when you're a little bit younger, you're just so you really want the world to take you so serious, or it's the opposite where you're so ridiculous no one will ever take you serious. So I think learning that balance of like knowing what to do and there's times even at 34 I don't got that down. So I think this is an opportunity like right now I think I have probably over 50. I opened up my direct messages on Discord within the tournament server. And I don't know how many people I got. I think I may have like 50 or 60 messages, and I'm gonna spend a lot of time trying to catch up to them all. I don't know a single team that I've talked to privately, let alone the private messages that are like super confident. Not a single one. The younger teams, the newer teams are nervous because they're afraid they're not going to perform well, right? Well, it's like, first of all, it's a double round elimination. Second of all, you have barely any tournament experience. Third of all, this is a brand new global ban system that historically hasn't been enacted. Fourth of all, you're playing a tournament that has never pioneered the way that we are doing right now. So there's nothing for you to look back on and try to learn from. You know, going forward on that, um, a lot of you are participating in this server and in this tournament without an official team, without years of experience. I don't know a single person other than douchebags who would ever make fun of you for not playing well. Like immediately, those are people you should block because it's just not worth your fucking time. But then on the other spectrum, this is what's ironic. This is what I'm surprised about. We have high tier players, arguably some of the top 20 hunters in the server, some of the top 20 survivors in the server who are messaging me because they're worried that they're not going to perform well, that there's too many expectations on them, that there's too much potential on them. So you got the survivors who are low tier worried they're going to play bad because, oh, like I'm not going to do well. This is going to make me look bad and I'm not experienced enough. But then you got the high tiers who are like, I don't know this team. How do I know they're not Smurfs? If they kick my ass, this is going to follow my reputation because I'm expected to do well. So in a weird way, you both are in the same position that you're just very worried that you're not going to perform well. And that's not fair because none of you have it. Many of you don't have tournament experience. There's not enough opportunities on the server. This is the first opportunity on the server, and you decided to take that to your advantage and try. Because no matter what happens at the end of this tournament, you are now somebody with tournament experience. Doesn't matter if you play good, doesn't matter if you play bad, you have tournament experience. Doesn't matter. There's nobody in there right. If I was a coach still and I received an application, and I've turned many of the best players on this server from very bad to very good. No one can deny it, whether you like it or not. You can't deny it. And sometimes when I saw those applications, the biggest thing is, do they have tournament experience? Because it means you got the sweat off your palms just a little bit, and it means that you were humble enough to put yourself out there. Those are the biggest. It doesn't matter if you do good or bad. We understand random chance with brackets. If any of you are going against some of the top teams in the first round, there's nobody in their right mind that would ever shit on you. Nobody. Like, quite literally nobody, unless they're that unreasonable. They're that miserable in life. You should just block them. You're wasting your time. You know, unfortunately, there are always going to be teams who go. From my understanding right now, we got some solid teams here. This opportunity provides opportunity for you all to get the experience, because the more important tournaments are in February, when it starts with COA regionals. So you all are gaining experience that nobody else in the entire world will have. Like, literally, that's not hyperbolic. It's not dramatic. Like, this is a new system, new hunters, new everything. And there's also a bunch of hunters who haven't learned the meta. And so I've had maybe about 6 or 7 hunters who are like, I'm very worried, I don't know the meta. And it's like, let me make this very clear. And by all means, again, you can clip this. It is easier for me to take a hunter who has niche hunters who are very good and help them learn the meta, just like we did with Roxon at the time, Call Me Duty, Sprinter. Sprinter didn't know Dream Witch. When we first played Sprinter, we beat Sprinter. Sprinter wasn't a meta hunter. He was at the time, but when it came time for summer tournament, we predicted the meta. He didn't. It took him 6 months to learn it. He sat in the back learning a meta hunter. You guys are in an advantage that Sprinter wasn't in. He was sitting down. So you guys have to understand the historical context. It's not even being overtly positive. It's quite literally like, it is easier for me to teach a hunter from a coach level, somebody who knows niche hunters, than to teach a meta hunter who doesn't know niche hunters. Because if you're very good with a niche hunter, you'll get the meta down. You just need time. You need to put the time in, the attention, and you need the coaching, right? The other thing to remember is that now there's going to be more bans than what there ever have been before for hunters. So that makes it very difficult on hunters. In my opinion, I think this is going to be one of the strongest meta hunter-centric meta that we've ever had. You're going to have to deal with Goatman. Again, we have no precedence on this, so you all are going to be the pioneers of such. You got Sangria, who's still a problem. You got Ivy, who said these are very fast hunters. Back in the day, it used to be characters like Dream Witch. It used to be characters like Mad Eyes. It was more like slow paced. More time for the hunter to expose your weaknesses. So there's a lot of hunters right now who aren't playing the meta. Good. Join. If there is any serious competitor, any professional player in China, any professional player in Japan, any professional player in Southeast Asia, I can absolutely tell you that if you enter this tournament and you're not playing meta, then they're gonna be surprised if you do well, and if you don't do well, they're gonna be like, well, they're not playing hunter. They're not playing the meta hunter, right? this gives you an opportunity to play the best that you can, learn about the system, learn about the bands, learn about the structure, learn about the sweat, learn about the anxiety, the anxiousness. But if you start practicing the meta, you're going to be in a better position, because when it does come down to round 3, if your team gets there in the future, you're going to have that niche hunter with 9 fucking bands. Like all of you right now who play rank mode as a hunter, all of you, it doesn't matter what tier you're in, who play hunter. Imagine if I said the next rank session, I'll give you 9 survivor bands. Give or take, however the fuck it works. You get my point though. Is that it's like, oh damn, oh, that's a little different. You got to understand that there's just as much anxiety for the high tiers. Because for some reason, unbeknownst to me, this server is still unable to differentiate between rank mode and tournament gameplay. So just because you're a high tier rank player means absolute shit to me as a coach. It means nothing to me. I don't give a fuck if you're tier 7 or tier 6, because rank mode is not tournament gameplay. So those high tiers know that. And there's a lot of anxiety for them as well, because for some reason people just think that if you're high tier, you're just going to mop the floor. These tier 6 and tier 7 hunters are not used to 4-man comps, 4-person comps. So there's anxiousness on their end, because if they don't perform well against a well-organized team, they're afraid of the backlash, just like you are afraid of the backlash if somebody happens to see you kite for not a very long time. And the other thing to remember is that we have 64 teams. The world is not going to revolve around your kite or your hunter gameplay. It's not. You know what I remember from all of the tournaments that I've ever been involved in? The ones that my own team are in the finals. And I did tournament gameplay shoutcasting for 2 or 3 years. I can't remember shit. Except Emrakul being Terror Shock. That's one of the greatest moments in history, because that guy was such an ass, and I love him, and he's still my good friend now, because we shit talk each other for like 5 years now. So like that's a little different. So your ops are gonna remember. Yeah, that's the one thing. I'll be honest with you on that one. But like even now. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, where they're like, Persuade, what are you talking about? Emrakul and I were some of the biggest enemies in the early season, but it was always like, well, we were serious, but it wasn't like we play together now, we joke around, and even now we laugh about it. It's not serious. No one actually thinks he's a bad player because of what happened back in the day. Even your worst enemies, but time they ain't gonna care. Excuse me, they ain't gonna care. You got to remember, we don't have enough tournaments. This is a whole new different style of gameplay. No GOAT man that's ever been historically played in tournament gameplay. Global ban system. Breathe. Like breathe. You know, it's very easy to think that when you're on the stage, everyone's focused on you. Remember this much. Even if you have a bad kite, let's say you got a 30-second kite, these streams are probably going to be 10 hours long. It's going to be 10 hours long, most likely. Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have some. You think people are really going to remember 20 seconds out of 10 hours? It's not. You know what they're going to remember? They're going to probably remember the last 4 matches. Oh, what if I don't do well in the last 4 matches? Who cares? You got tournament experience. The real tournaments don't begin until February. All of you, this is like gaining extra credit before the semester or quarter even begins. School hasn't started. School's not in session, and you're stressed out about extra credit. This is extra credit. What kind of extra credit assignment negatively reflects your grade? It doesn't. If you deal with people who try to be rude or try to be mean, you competed. They didn't. And then the other thing that I got is that, so one of the things that I got was about the bracket and stuff. So there were people asking about that, because they were saying, it seems like there's a lot of low tier teams versus a lot of high tier teams. So there's a few things about that. One, NetEase don't give a fuck about that. They don't care about you. They don't care about your team. They randomize everything. Rival has historically 5 years in a row been matched with either a first, second, or third place overall team. They get fucked every year. They still go there. They still do the best that they can. If you have to, if you have to literally base everything around where you are at in a bracket, then you're not confident enough, and that's okay. It's okay to be there right now. It really is. The majority amount of players voted for time slots in the preliminaries so that they could even compete. So that reflects some randomization potential that we would have had. Furthermore, for anybody who's in statistics or research, you would know, and if you don't know, that's perfectly okay, right? I had to learn this too, right? Randomization does not always work with small sample sizes. The whole point of like randomly controlled trials, which is very high evidence, is that you have enough sample size, enough participants that allow for the randomization to even itself out. If I have 5 people and I try to randomly allocate them based on their, based on how much they can lift versus 500, it's more likely that with the 500, I'm going to have a more of an equal distribution. You can Google this, it's called a bell curve. So with NetEase's randomization strategy, that works a little bit better on China and Japan because they have more players, they have more competitive teams. So if you just completely randomize things, it's more likely to even itself out. In NAEU, that has never historically been accurate. It's never worked. And I think in 2020 or 2021, they tried this. And in the quarterfinals, there was a hunter who was a bee hunter, not B tier, literally a bee hunter, and they didn't know how to hop the window. And I feel very bad for that hunter because they were probably a new player to the game, and they probably played a few times and they thought it would be a good opportunity, and it did, and they were ridiculed. And they made it to the quarterfinals because things weren't a little bit more randomized, and NetEase almost completely took all of the tournaments out of the entire server because of such. So the original strategy of this tournament, we took a panel of 10 players, 10 to 15 players they're not part of a team. They're not officially affiliated with anybody. They're independent folks. Some of them have ran tournaments, the underground tournaments that some of you don't see, which is a shame because some of those tournaments actually were really good because I was reviewing them recently. And the original plan was to take anywhere between 8 to 16 teams, give or take. There was no definitive number. And then among the panel, try to vote in terms of a seeded system. And by seeded system, just like they do in NCAA, just like they do in college, just like they do in any sports, especially in high school, you have a relative idea of who the top 8 or 16 or 12, whatever the number would be. You randomly separate them and then you randomize it from there. Just because we don't have a history of tournament gameplay on the server. That means that you can equally separate the higher tiers so they have equal satisfaction because it's not fair when you have all of the higher tiers in the same bracket. So on one hand, I'll have all of the high tiers bitching at us with randomization saying, why are we all going against each other in the first round? Like, this is shit. Like, we literally went to KOA. Why? Or we placed, like, why are we going against the best team and immediately eliminated? But then on the other hand, you also have a lot of players who are more casual, and that's perfectly okay. Elks, Mammoth, who are like, why are we going against the best teams? So the original plan was to have a seeded system, randomize it, and then go from there. I know that they stuck to that to the best of their advantage, to the best of their ability, only because when the teams voted for time slots, because we changed it where instead of having the first round all on live feed, there were way too many teams. So essentially, and it's unfair to the players in the tournament, we asked them to do the first round before this Saturday. So we did that because it only takes 24 matches to get to the 8 in the top bracket as opposed to 60. So it was a timing issue. So for all the players out there, they've been extremely flexible, which is why they shouldn't get any criticism about anything that happens, because everyone's being as flexible to make this all happen and to make it all work. So what I did is I removed myself from any bracket making and any of this. I'm fully 100% removed. Um, when I looked at the bracket, when the bracket got released, I saw it for the first time today as well. So I had no say in that bracket in terms of the overall sequencing or anything. And when I looked at the bracket, I felt like a lot of the higher teams were evenly distributed. Like when you look at the different sections of the bracket, I don't see four top teams in that one bracket. I see things pretty evenly distributed. So one of the criticisms that we got is, well, how come there's a lot of low tiers versus high tiers? And it's like, right, but based on how the bracket got drawn, which was based on time slots, so the organizers were completely limited. So pretty much if you were like, yeah, we can only play Tuesday night, it doesn't matter what anyone wants to do. If there's only one other team that's available Tuesday night, that's who you get. That's what the players voted. And that was okay because we threw a curveball at them. So we should be very empathetic and sympathetic to the curveballs based on the overwhelming amount of teams that have applied. But with that being said, when I'm looking at it, again, I don't know enough about the teams because I've never checked the rosters of the team or anything. So like I'm learning just like you all are. But I knew some of the top teams and none of them are going against each other round one. At least I don't think. So when I look at that, one of the things I've been telling people is that, well, in COA, there's a good chance you're gonna go against the top team because COA only allows like 16 teams the most usually. They might go a little higher depending on how much draw they think there's gonna be. So most likely, if you're one of the few teams in COA, you're gonna go against the top team. But more so, we literally made the tournament a double round elimination to accommodate for this. We didn't have to do that. We could have just made it a single round eliminate. It would have been so much easier on everybody. The graphics, the video, the content creators, the organizers, the team, everything. So we actually doubled the amount of work to try to accommodate for this. Not only that, but if the overwhelming consensus is that they feel like the higher tiers are evenly distributed, then that means that your second round, third round is more likely to be equal. And you also got to remember that a lot of those, like when you look at their ranks, because I know people are doing that, a lot of those teams still don't have tournament gameplay. They don't have any experience with the meta. Maybe they do. They don't have any experience with a 9 round, like a 9 global ban system. Like, so there's a lot, and again, and we talked about this in the beginning, a lot of those higher tiers are very nervous. They're very nervous because they got a reputation with their name as either a good hunter or survivor, and you could immediately shock them. You don't know. Especially if you have a decent hunter, your hunter can completely surprise them. Oh, well, I don't play the meta. Well, then you can completely surprise them round one because it's niche. Oh, well, they have a top hunter. That top hunter has not been a top hunter playing 4-man comms unless they know life 5v5. There's so many things where it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. And it's so easy to internalize this and just look at the negative and bad. And there's a certain element of, okay, let's process this. Do you think that when I was coach of B4U that I thoroughly enjoyed being fucking first round against the top China teams every single year in a row? Kind of sucked, right? But at the end of the day, we're trying to do as much as we can to accommodate for the probability. But I really need you all to know that when you do apply for an official tournament, that unless we have a server that is more skilled with more competitive players and more competitive teams, which is what we're going to do, and we will lead the way with that. And you don't worry about that. I worry about that, and we'll keep going after this. That those tournaments will make more sense with the randomization. But right now, if you were to enter a co-op tournament, they don't care. They don't care. You got one round, you got one shot, 3 rounds to do the best that you can. This opportunity, what you all should really be focused on is making as many friends as possible, making as many connections as possible, getting the tournament experience, finding out which players are doing this to have fun versus which players are doing this to be a little bit more serious, and learn from it and prepare for February. That's the biggest thing. Biggest thing. Yep, some of y'all way too harsh on yourselves, and then some of y'all worried about your teammates and what they're gonna think. And so let me make that very clear. How I always ran before you is after a tournament, if you're pissed, get the fuck offline. It's always been that get off. I don't want to hear it as your coach. I don't want to. We'll have a meeting. We'll all say, hey, good. We all did our best. This is the circumstances. I'm very proud of you all and stuff. Because I always was. So that wasn't fake. But if you're pissed, if you're bitter, I know what it's like to be part of a sports team, or even I was a wrestler. I know what it's like to go into that wrestling match and fucking, not do as well as I thought I would, or whatever. Um, there was one time, so I was a wrestler. The New England champion, his younger brother, went against me, and I had a cross-face headlock on this kid. He's the next up-and-coming wrestler. We were both in like 7th or 8th grade, and I got him into a cross-face headlock. He cried, so the referee stopped the match so he could learn how to breathe again. I was super fucking mad because I'm like, well, then he should have tapped out or whatever, which isn't a thing in wrestling, but still, it was a legal headlock. And he came back and he beat me by 1 point when I literally had this motherfucker on his back. And he should have been pinned. He was literally on his back. I choked this kid so hard. Oh my God, I lost by 1 point. I'm still pissed about it to this day. This little prodigy. And yeah, I know what it's like to be pissed off. I know what it's like to be mad. You tell your teammates, we all did good. Make sure you all talk with each other. Don't destroy your friendships over a fucking video game. That's stupid. But if you're pissed, go away, right? And it's okay to be pissed. It's okay to be disappointed in yourself. Whatever. Respect people's spaces. Don't try to interrupt it. Don't try to be the mediator. Don't try to convince them that we should talk about it. Give them their space. You need your space. People are gonna be mad. But if you're overly worried about your friendships over a tournament gameplay, then, what sort of friendships do you all have, right? So all you can do is go into this, do the best that you can, understand that literally every single team in this tournament is going to be disappointed because there's only one winner. That's the reality of it. What top team goes into this tournament being like, yeah, we're okay with losing? Never met a competitive team. Mayhem is probably arguably one of the best coaches that ever existed on the server. He was my number one enemy. Me and him went against each other for years. Never once have I heard Mayhem say I'm okay with being number 2. We joke about this all the time now. We'll go on live feed once in a while, me and him. We'll joke about it. He'll never be like, oh, I was okay with losing with you. Never once. He's a fucking competitive kid. He coached one of the best hunters in the history, Ialien, of this server. Ialien's a fantastic hunter. Always has been, always will be. You think that I'm happy about losing to China? Think I'm happy about losing to X-Rock? No. Fuck no. But guess what? We made it there, right? So if somebody tries to say, oh, you lost to X-Rock, I'll be like, well, we made it there. Where were you? So if you have somebody trolling you, where were you? You didn't even compete. I want to hear this shit, right? And don't worry about those people. Your time is super important. What's funny? I was talking to Zeus about this a little bit. Zeus can tell me if I'm out of pocket here. But I was talking to Zeus, right? Because Zeus does those little, like, fucking weird straw polls on Twitter or whatnot. I'm like, Zeus, why are you wasting your time with people writing stupid shit to you? Right? You got 24 hours in a day. If I got 10 messages from people asking me to help them with their real life problems, or I got people saying that they're confused in life and they need help, or I got people worried about their gameplay, You know, when you go on those straw polls and whatnot, and you have somebody writing some stupid shit because they want some temporary clout or they want attention, like I could completely dislike somebody. You know, like who's that dude? Fauzi, whatever the fuck that dude's name is. The guy's he's a disaster. And he uses his mental health as an excuse. And this is coming from somebody who's an expert in the field. I wouldn't go to a straw page writing some shit. What I will do is not watch his content because look, I'm busy over here. And I was telling Zeus, I'm like, Zeus, you only got 20. I know you're a Greek god, but you only got, I think he's Greek, right? Zeus, Greek, whatever. No, not the player, the person, the god. It's not a person. I'm fucking this all up. Anyways, but I was telling Zeus, I'm like, why are you wasting your time on these people who are so desperate in life they're gonna write some shit to you? They're not even like presenting it in a rational, reasonable way where like, hey Zeus, thanks for taking the time to read this. You know, there's some negative qualities of value that I don't agree with, and I would like your answer on this. Or most of them are just like writing some shit because they want to get a response out of you. And it's like when you got like 100 people over here that are like, I would really like Zeus's attention to remind him the significance of my life. Like you're paying attention to the fucking 5 over here who are so miserable that they spend their life online being dickheads to you. So like, why are you wasting your time on the 5 when you got 100 over here, right? And it's the same thing with you all with your and I didn't know this at Zeus's age either. And Zeus was fantastic because he was like, you know, that's some good points. He wasn't even like, oh no. And that's what makes Zeus a fantastic person. He's gonna grow into such a fierce advocate for people that don't have voices for themselves. But like you look at this and you're like you're so worried about the fucking all of you. You can't even like listen to that analogy and be like, "Oh, why does it?" Like you're in the same boat because you're worried about the fucking 5 or 6 people over here on this stupid little island that hopefully eventually drowns from global warming. Instead, that was terrible. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, but it was kind of creative. Like chat, can I get a little bit of flowers on that one? Global warming is serious. We don't want any islands to drown, but like that was pretty good. But then you got all of these people, including myself, who are over here trying to encourage you to do well in this tournament and that I'm proud of you. Why are the 5 over here more important than me? But like chat, it's an honest question. Like I'm asking you, like I'm gonna read the fucking chat. I'm reading all of you right now. Please tell me why your haters are more important than me when I'm telling you I'm so. Do they have more credentials than me? Are they smarter than me? Are they more handsome than me? I mean, the answer could be yes. They're probably taller than me. I'm only 5'9". I'll give them that one. Again, booster shoes. I go up to 6 feet. But why? Where is it object? Why do you pay more attention to them than me? I don't understand. Why? What did I do wrong in your life? They don't fucking matter. None of them do. Let them rot away over here. Because when the zombie apocalypse happens, in real life, they're the first people are going to trip so they can get away. It's just a reality. So focus on this. You're about to put yourselves in a situation that you've never been in before, with little opportunity, with no precedence in terms of the gameplay, with new rules. And this is the beginning. And you're going to be hard on yourselves? Hard on yourselves. You might as well never ask a man or a woman to date you. You might as well never apply for a job. You might as well never apply for college. You should just drop out of high school now. Right? Because, right? Why put yourself at risk? Why put yourself at the littlest ounce of risk? Doesn't make sense. And some of y'all need to go way easier on yourselves. It makes me sad. But it's okay. Because over time, I'm going to charm you. Like every other woman who laughs at my jokes with pity, all of the other women who reluctantly accept my drink offers at the bar, I will make you feel pitiful about me and I will make you laugh. And then you're going to date me and you're going to have a great time for a long time because I'm awesome. Um, you'll eventually break up with me, but that's okay. We'll have years of happiness. And so that's where we're at. And I'm okay with this rule. I'm so fucking funny. All right. So I want to open up the floor. I went on my tangent for almost 50 minutes. I didn't even practice that speech today at work. I was too busy. Ask your questions. What do we got? Ask your toughest questions. Anything. We're going to talk about it. You have my time, my undivided attention. I wouldn't break up with you, Persuade. I'm glad that your family has raised you with such piss poor standards, and I approve of them. See, me and your family will already get along. Can I marry you? Can you marry me? Sure. Fuck it. What else do I got? I don't even have a pet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm lonely. It's fine. Persuadable, can you teach me to find analogies like that? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What we'll do is we'll get Nyan. We'll have her go in circles. We'll create a little pool, a little bit of like a pool of puddles there from Naiad mains. And then me and you, we'll go fishing. Okay. We could go on Lakeside if we don't know any Naiad mains. It's okay. She is doing pretty well in the meta though. But anyways, long story short, then we'll fish for the analogies. You like that analogy? We'll get good. All right, get good, kid. Persuade, are you okay? You're doing a lot. Yeah, I have so much help right now. This is not on me. This is absolutely 100. Right now, most of the work's going on with Paul, going on with Tara. They deserve all the credit here. I absolutely assure you that, and I'm not just saying that. High persuadable doing college apps. Yo, you got that. If you need a letter of reference, I'll just make something up. Talking about Zeus, he's got about 2 weeks for that Naiad Kai. Oh yeah, that's right. Zeus is gonna do his cosplay. Can't wait to say that on live feed during an official tournament. When you get on Identity 5, do you play Hunter or Survivor more? And what do you? I've always been a Survivor mate. Always, always, always. I haven't been able to play because we're so busy with this tournament. It's nuts. I had I had nothing to do on Saturday or Sunday. Didn't get to play. We've been dedicating 8 to 12 hours a day on this. We have software in development, things going on. What's going on, Si? What about ping issues during tournament? Although I gotta admit the game is very way less laggy than it used to be. Yeah, we got some rules and stuff in the background to try to accommodate that. Uh, Tell Tara that she is doing a great job, even though I am tempted to mansplain her after that one VC you know, okay. So that's actually funny. So for those who don't know, Tara Shock is a very, very, very close personal friend of mine. And we were in Discord and we were talking so much shit to each other. And that's what we always do. And we were joking around. And somebody privately messaged her and was like, "Hey, make sure you never you, you never let a man talk to you like that." And Tara, Tara's very private. She's a private person, so and I'm a private person, so in the trust me, we're very private. But we she never told me who wrote it, which I'm proud of her for. But that was when her and I were like, dude, we got to be careful with how we talk to each other because we have a whole new generation of players who aren't used to the way that her and I talk to each other. And but the funny part, here's the extremely funny part, and this comes back to AliExpress. Um, so we were joking around. This was before a rank session. We're fucking around. The whole time I'm like, she's yelling at me. I'm yelling at her. It's all in good fun. None of us are actually mad. So we go into rank mode. Tara yells at me for like 3 hours straight. But I mean, like, she yells at me. Like, she's mad. She's like, you didn't pick here. You didn't pick here. I know I got terror shocked, but you didn't do this. You didn't go to the fucking game. So for 3 hours, I'm keeping my mouth shut. And I tell her, I go, I wish your friend was in this chat right now to hear how much shit you're fucking talking to me right now. Yeah. So that was the first time that because like I said, I just came back, and that was the first time Tara and I was like, oh shit, we gotta make sure that we're telling people that we're not being serious. But I was like, yo, Tara, whoever messaged you that like that, but they're kind of right. Don't you ever let no man talk to you like that? Yeah, I got so Allie over here laughing. Yeah, I got yelled at for like 3 hours in ring session by Tara. I'm putting her on public blast. So Tara is running this whole tournament with Paul, and Tara was up until like 3 in the morning. God bless her soul, working her ass off for the brackets, trying to make sure that everything was in alignment, trying to make sure everything was good. I think that's the crazy part is that like when somebody just, they'll go and be like, oh, like we're going against a top team right away. And it's like, bro, like we had people up until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to do the best that they can to help you. And like you go into COA, man, you're gonna go against top team. It's just how it works. But like we did as much as we could to accommodate for such, but there comes to a certain level where you're like, I'm done talking about this, I'm done defending ourselves. And then you have people like Tara who've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. Like this is a grown ass woman with a grown ass career, and she up until 3 in the morning trying to do her best for you. And then you just got a quick Twitter response there with no thought process, no understanding, no asking us, no wondering, nothing. Just it's like, come on, man. Like that's where you're at. Love Tara. Love Tara. Love everything that she does for the community. Except when she fucking screams at me for 3 hours. Mrs. Bible. I'm very nervous for the tourney. Did it with my friends for shits and giggles. But I'm scared all the practice I did will go to waste. Well, great. Because guess what? When the real tournaments happen, you're going to be prepared. You will be. You're allowed to be scared and you're allowed to be nervous. That is a consequence of the server not having as many tournaments like this, and all we can do is move forward and make sure that there's more opportunities for people to improve. The entire server understands this. Literally, professional players from other servers understand this better than our own competitors. So remember that there are professional players who have retired recently because of their own health issues, because of the same anxiety. So all we can do is provide the opportunity and foster a healthy environment. And again, we have all the way up until February until official tournaments are happening. So, regardless of us running a tournament, which is going to be tough during COA because everybody's going to be ranking. So that's why all of this is in preparation for after COA too. So how much huzz do you have? What's that mean? Can someone... What's going on, Julie? How are you? Will you release the rank random song you posted on Twitter onto YouTube and add the lyrics? That's been on YouTube for a while. Persuadable, can you lose symbol concert mid-tourney? Oh, I wish I had. I have one song ready, but it's a sad song, so we can't put that on. We can't put that on live feed. Is Forward still meta? I'm pretty sure Forward's getting an adjustment very soon. As in before this season, I think Forward's getting an adjustment. So I'm going to be honest, nobody will judge any teams besides maybe RVL, but they are used to it. RVL, that's not true though. RVL, their players are actually trying to help other teams learn. RVL is actually helping coach some other teams, like not official coaching, but they're helping some of the Mammoths and Elks get some experience. That's not true at all. You would think that from Rival, but that's not how they are right now. I know that Sprinter is working with some hunters to give them some more practice and exposure, but only because those hunters reached out to him. That's what you all don't understand. You gotta network. You gotta put yourselves out there. You gotta ask for help. Like all of these teams who just isolate themselves because they think they have this grand scheme that no one else in the world has figured out. They don't do anything, and they hurt themselves. They really do. That has never been the philosophy of mine as a coach, ever. If I want to throw a curveball at a professional team as a coach, then I'm going to make sure that we have that in customs, but we're practicing against every... If I'm a coach, I will practice against any team that will allow me to. So the teams that actually went out of their way to reach out to some of these top competitive players, they're going to get some additional coaching. They have every right to do so because when we go to COA, when we go to China, when we go to Japan, we're constantly looking for teams to compete against, especially in Southeast Asia. Like, let's scrim before COA. Let's get some practice, especially when you know the brackets and you know that you two aren't even going to go against each other. There's no secrets. If you guys go against each other, it means you beat the fucking opponents before you. Or you're both lost, but usually at that point you can you need the network. You really do. And this opportunity is such a great. If you use this opportunity to just talk crap to other players and get pissed because you lost, or break, or rather burn bridges down with your own teammates because you lose, you're gonna whittle away. No one's gonna want to mess with you. You know, that's the suffering of your own undoing, like, whatever. But this is a good opportunity for you to find people who are on the same level as you. Use this opportunity because, again, the the first thing that I would ever care about is, do you have tournament experience? Everything else, and then usually if you don't, then we work with that. Most important question as a coach, do you have tournament experience? And it's a little bit different if you're part of a server that doesn't have opportunities, but you have this opportunity now. So you already, all of you are going to check the most important box. I'm not going to be like, I might be like, how did you do? But, oh, I died in 20 seconds. So did Rival's new survivor. They have such a great new survivor, Yingling, right? And I think he died in like 15, 8 seconds, 20 seconds. You know, he made a mistake. And in an official tournament, that doesn't mean he's a bad player. The dude's one of the best players in the history of the game. He was literally a competitive player in a professional China team. And he's over here right now playing with Rival. And he had a hiccup. If I was coach, I would never just be like, oh, you competed in a tournament? You had one bad kite in your life? No. Literally. If anyone treats you like that, then you shouldn't join their team because they don't know what they're talking about. They're losers and the coach is incompetent. So if anything, it's like dating somebody that shows you red flags on the first date. And at that point, I mean, you can't blame the universe at that point. It was right in front of you, right? Who do you think is going to win the tournament? I have no fucking clue. Same me. Okay, Zach, we got you. Thoughts on journalists and her mains? I think that if you have good ping and you can time it just right, you can absorb hits like 4 times. It's crazy. That terror shock hurt. Okay. I would like to know how to become a coach, not gonna lie, but I was only into small attorneys. To become a coach. Let's see. Yo, coaching isn't easy. What's going on, Juju? I see you over there. Haster, and I'm gonna get back to your question over here in a second. Hi, Haster. Do you have any coaching resources for people who aren't participating in the tournament? Yeah. So there's a lot of questions about being a good coach. So what I would say is that your number one priority as a coach is making sure that all of the team members feel comfortable talking to one another as a group. Do not expect team members to always feel comfortable talking to each other one-on-one. You must foster an environment where everybody talks together as a group. How people are one-on-one is okay. How you are as a group is extremely important. You must be as fair as possible, but you also must admit that you suck. You suck. You're a coach. You suck ass. Tell me you don't suck. If you don't suck, why aren't you competing? You fucking suck. You're retired. You're washed up. You're too afraid to go on the live feed. So you settle for being a coach so you can stay relevant. Having humility is extremely important as a coach. Not thinking that you have all the answers. Providing the resources for your team members to learn, but also accepting feedback and making sure that whatever strategy you come together as a team, you all ultimately agree that in the end, it is a team decision. You're not God. If you rule with an iron fist, it's not going to work in an online tournament. That's more of a real life thing, even if you can get away with it, which isn't my style. You must make sure that you understand the emotions of your team members. There's going to be moments that they're sad. There's going to be moments that they're upset. And there's going to be there's going to be moments where they need time to process what's happening. And if you take that personal, then you lack social intelligence. And that is a very important factor in terms of coaching. I don't know how they run things in China and Japan. It may be a little bit different because things are more money centric and professional. But at the same time, if you foster that environment, whenever it's time to switch hunters or survivors, there's usually a process in terms of that transition. All members must feel comfortable talking to you privately without feeling like you're going to leak shit. All of your members must know that you have their interest and the team's interest at equal value. However, the team does come first. And being a coach, the most important thing is that you don't lose your humanity in the process of coaching. So you all want to win, you all want to do well. But if you let me put it this way, and this is objectively true. Nobody can ever take this away from me. From my understanding, out of every professional team, I thought that B4U has stayed together as one single team for the longest. Years. Years. Roxon, there was no bad energy when he stepped down. Call Me Duty, there was no bad energy when he stepped down. KKZ, no bad energy. Sprinter is still there 4 years later. So I think that if you can lead, showing that you actually care about people, then if you have people who care about you, that's what's needed. Don't think you're a god. Listen, but also make sure that people understand your authority, but don't think that your authority is everything where you stop listening. And some people just have that naturally, some people have to learn it, and some people are just more worried about calling themselves a coach. However, let me make this also very clear that I've had some of the best players ever to grace the server with their presence, and they have all been extremely humble. I don't think I ever had a bad player to coach. I had one who was a little on edge, but like me and him never had a problem. So I've been very, very fortunate. And then ultimately, if it's just a toxic environment, you get rid of the player no matter how good they are. That's how it works. Stick with the meta, predict the meta. That's the big thing. You got to be able to predict the meta because you have to get your survivors to stay on top of the meta. That's a huge part. I feel like that's extremely important because if you can't predict the meta, it's a little bit easier now. But like back in the day, if you couldn't predict the meta, you would phase out, you lost. Because it used to be easy hunters that went to complex hunters. So everyone was playing, like Ripper, Spider Queen, Clown. And then once Dream Witch came out, man, it was so much multitasking. It took a half a year for players to learn her. Half a year, guys. Some of y'all get frustrated after a week. Half a year. I think it's a little different now because a lot of those hunters who are grandfathered in are used to the multitasking scenario. So like when Ivy gets introduced, like she did, it's a little bit easier to abuse her. To a degree, same thing with Clark, because the multitasking aspect of things is already locked down. So to go from a simple hunter to a complex hunter not only helps you with the meta if the meta involves a complex hunter, but it also prepares you for future metas because now you got that sequencing down, which is all like the coordination is neurological, it's not muscular. So you get that, in all fairness, of course, yeah. So predicting the meta used to be very important. Now you have, no offense, but Goatman and Sangria does not take as much skill as what these older hunters used to. And I'll die on that. Sangria is a brain dead character, but you know what? Uh, we have a lot of good hunters that don't abuse her. And I know that if I was if I was a player without any tournaments, I wouldn't play Sangria either, because I don't care about her and I think she's too easy and she's abused. But when it comes to a tournament like this, you must know the meta. You must know how to do that because then you're forcing survivors to ban her or the meta that allows your niche to flourish after 9 bans. So challenge your hunters to learn all the characters. Challenge all your survivors to get very good with numerous survivors. Don't just have one survivor or one person know how to play antiquarian or forward or mechanic. You need to have numerous people who can play numerous roles because if there is that one niche survivor that ultimately becomes meta in a weird way, just like GR used Dancer back in Koa, etc., then you can set yourself up for curveballs. But here's my biggest advice upon everything else: don't throw curveballs just to throw curveballs. Sometimes you just need to play checkers, and some of you'll try to play chess. And it's pretty simple, and the formula is simple. So don't underthink it, don't overthink it. Find that equilibrium. I think that would be my answer. And be very careful about people who are very eager to be the teacher, for the love of God, because then they're only caring about their own voice and ego. Even now, like right now, I'm a student, but even as a coach, every day I'm a student. I need to learn it and then I need to reteach it, show the evidence, and say, what do we do with this? So, Persuade, will you ever offer coaching to other Survivor or Hunter players who are interested? Oh, 100%. Eventually. Right now, I'm not in that position. I can't be a coach and be inappropriate. I'm still learning. This whole entire tournament, guys, you guys are going to see me asking the other shoutcasters what's going on. And that's not me playing a shtick. That's not me playing a gimmick. That's not me. This is an opportunity for me to learn from people like Eli. So we're starting from the ground up. You guys are literally part of my process of learning. I'm literally showing, I'm handing the keys to you. So anyone who wants to be a coach, when you pay attention to the content that's going to be coming out soon, especially the tournament, especially when you hear me as a shoutcaster, that would be me as a coach behind the scenes trying to learn, right? So if you want to coach, if you want to learn, if you want to be a competitive survivor, a competitive hunter, this tournament's going to give you a lot of information, especially with Eli around. So it's a good opportunity to start from the ground up. Does not matter what you have done a month ago. Doesn't matter what you did a week ago. Doesn't matter what you did 6 months ago. Doesn't matter if you were once part of a team and it sucked. Doesn't matter if that team failed. What matters is right now, with where you're at now, and what you do going forward. All that stuff means nothing. Zero. And as a server, we grow together. It's that simple. What happens if Yev shows up during the tournament? Juju, can you rephrase that? I'm kind of dumb. What does that mean? I tell my team just to have fun, so lose or win is a good learning experience for my team and myself as well. And you know, we don't have a lot of tournaments on this, so really it's just go out there, do the best you can. You're gonna learn a lot from it. It might be early to ask, but do you think you'll do more tournaments like this in the future? Oh, for sure. This whole thing is set up to really take off after Koa between February and April. So we got to figure that out. Right now, this is all just let's do the best that we can, and we have so much momentum, man. We really do. We have so much momentum. There's no way you don't stop from here. It's gonna get a little weird during Koa because you got to remember that. So during Koa, the qualifiers, it's based on your team and your ability to rank. So it's a little tough to run tournaments during this time because people are going to rank more than anything because you got to rank as much as you can to qualify. But I can tell you this much. This tournament is going to make rank mode serious because there's going to, after this tournament, They're gonna people who are gonna learn a lot. They're also going to network. They're going to learn which teammate, which people they really want to play with. They're going to learn in this tournament which teammates they have good synergy with. Some teammates maybe not so much, both, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And then I would make the prediction. Y'all can clip this quite literally because this is how serious I am. I'm not laughing. I'm not joking. I'd make the argument that this is probably going to be the most competitive COA qualifier on the server's history ever. This is going to be the most competitive COA qualifier there has ever been in the history of this game. Hands down. Because this tournament is going to fucking fire people up. They're going to be more prepared. They're going to be people who reorganize. People are going to learn a lot. People are going to actually start practicing. People are going to enter 5v5 more to gain more experience. So the next time they have the opportunity to show themselves, they can show growth in some sort of capacity. I think that the rank mode online qualifiers is going to be the most intense it's ever been in the history of this server. Because there's never been this opportunity on this caliber with the biggest tournament ever, showing you that there's 64 teams worth of players who actually really want to learn and do better and be better and put themselves out there. And that's after less than 4 days or so of the applications being open. We had to close the applications down. So there's probably another 10, 15, 20 teams, and they're going to be paying attention. And they're also going to say, hey, I didn't get to make this tournament, but I'm very serious. And they're going to have access to those resources. This will be the most competitive online qualifiers in the history of this server. I am that fucking confident, hands down. And teams need to be ready. Rival, they need to be ready. They can't just sleep through the fucking rank session like they used to be able to. They ain't going to get away with it this time. People are going to be serious about it. They're going to be ready, and they're going to have way more confidence because they showed up to this tournament. This tournament right now is going to provide a lot of you anxiety, and it's going to give you anxiousness, uncertainty. But I can tell you this much. It's like going through a very nerve-wracking homework assignment or group project or whatever the case is, and you're stressing about it. And then you all go up there and you're nervous in the first 5 seconds, but then you just kind of wing it. You go through with it. You practice the things that you practice. Some things go good, some things don't. You do well. And then it's that relief where you finally sit down in your desk and then you're not even fucking paying attention to the next group behind you because you're just so damn happy that you got through it. You'll worry about your grade a little bit later on, but right then and there, you're like, fuck that. That's what's gonna happen. Give me one moment. I gotta go to the bathroom. Ask your questions, because I'm gonna come back and read them real quick. but I hate touching my. Hate touching my stuff. Like I try to dry my hands after washing, but I don't know. I hate wet hands. I feel like a fucking swamp monster. You were glazing your hunter, now you're doubting your team's capabilities. Wait, what? Oh, okay, something else. Can we be pen pal? I probably would procrastinate. Wait, hold on. Rival better watch out because I have crazy strong teammates. So if anything, so let me be objectively true. Do you all want my honest opinion about Rival right now? Y'all want it? Tell me straight up. Don't tell me you want it and then I give it and then you all get pissy with me. Do you all want the honest truth about Rival? Straight up. No hesitation. None of that nonsense. Because I feel confident that my friendship with all of my former teammates means more than my objective analysis. And I know for a fact that every single person on Rival who's watching this right now, if they're watching it, knows that they would say, you can message them. If you have connections with them, message them. And they'll be like, that's persuadable. They'll tell you that. My honest opinion about Rival, if this server wants to dethrone Rival fairly, competitively, then fuck Rival. Rival has a great reputation, they're great players. But like, we're all competitors at the end of the day, right? Like, it's literally okay to be like, yeah, I want to fucking see them lose. In a way, like, where it's okay. They would understand that. They've been dealing with that their whole careers, right? When you're on top, people want to see you not be on top. Any NBA fans? Who wants to see the Lakers win every year? Celtics win. Who wants to see Kansas City Chiefs go undefeated? Who wants to see the LA Dodgers in baseball win every year? Who was happy to see the Patriots start losing, right? This is a little bit like, oh yeah, right? Okay, so with that being said, I would make the objective argument that Rival is probably in a position that they haven't been in for a very long time. And I think that people should start preparing now because I'd make the argument that if they're not at their weakest now, then it would probably be next year. You know, they don't got Paul Blums, who's been a staple of their team for like years. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. You either get strong. Same thing when I removed people from the team, or there's times where you get stronger and times you get weaker. But I know that they've been at the top for a very long time. I think right now they're in uncharted territory. I don't think they have the full answer to that. And I think that you all need to start practicing now. Not necessarily just for this COA, but next COA. Especially if people retire or whatever. You need to be in a position where you have experience, and it starts now. If I was a top competitive coach or a top competitive team, this would be the time where I would start preparing you now. Because I genuinely think, and again, they could overcome all of their obstacles. They could, persevere. But I think right now is the moment where they're still considered at top. We'll see how they do this COA. But again, they also lost somebody that's been a staple of their team for years. So, because Paul wants to enjoy retirement. And so I think now is the time. I think now is the time where you start preparing to learn how to be a coach. This is the time where you start to learn the meta as a hunter, especially if you have a niche hunter. This is the time as you a survivor to learn the meta survivors. Don't be too prideful. It's okay to play survivors who are a little bit more tanky because that's usually the meta. You don't have to try to tight kite with an old school, thief, even although he's making a comeback against Sangria on Leo's. I'm not Leo's, ever sleeping. And that's because she can't abuse her skill in the wide open tracks, if you will. So I think now is the time, and it's up to their team and coach to figure out how to adapt to that as well. And but Schmitty and them, they're very reasonable. They're rational minded. I think they understand where I'm coming from. And I think some of them have been playing for so long. You might see some retirements, but I don't know how true that is either. But I do know one thing: they're more vulnerable now than what they have in the past 3 years with any uncertainty, right? Like whenever you have a big change in players, it's the same thing when Call Me Duty retired. No one thought that B4U would eventually, actually go forward with a championship. And that's how it always is. You gotta be prepared. You gotta stick up with them. You gotta stay up with the meta. You gotta stay up with the practice. But I think Rival is gonna be at a very vulnerable spot, and they need to adapt to it. But one thing I do know is that they're very good at that, and they shouldn't be underestimated either. But you're looking at this co and next co. What I will say is that with any competitive team, you need this experience now. Not only for now, but for later. There's not too many professional players in China right now who eventually got substituted in without experience with other teams. So if anything, you putting yourself on the market allows yourself long-term resume building of I got this tournament, I got this tournament, I got this tournament. And the more that you learn, the more that you prepare yourself as well for the fluctuations that you need. But I think that if Rival were to be dethroned, I think this year would be difficult to dethrone them. I think next year would be much more feasible. If you were to ask me 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been like, they're not getting dethroned anytime soon. So I think you'll need to start the practice now. I don't know, but I'm scared of China. I don't know, but I'm scared of China pro players, man. They really good. Yeah, China pro players, man. They good. I don't remember. I don't remember being in a single tournament where we were like, oh yeah, these players aren't good. We never said that. We were like, oh shit, here we go. Let's do the best we can. Do they call you tomorrow? Call me tomorrow. You can get me down with the kid. I really need to get into watching competitive IDV, but I don't know where to start. You don't worry, we're gonna. The plan is for me to launch that second YouTube channel. This tournament's taken way more time than I thought because we keep adding things to it. But I do promise you that the second Identity 5 YouTube channel is going to come out. And I also promise you that in the future, tournament gameplay from NAEU will be on that YouTube rather than my own personal YouTube. It'll be on that YouTube and then maybe my personal streaming platforms like Twitch, TikTok, and stuff. But in terms of YouTube exclusively, that is going to be a competitive Identity 5 only YouTube channel with 1 hour episodes daily. Um, just like I told people, some of you may be newer to the channel, I told people back in early October that this would be like a 3 or 4 month process, that we're going very slow. Right now, this tournament is so massive that that's where all of our attention is going towards. But eventually, you're going to have so much tournament gameplay to look at, so much high tier gameplay to look at, so many live feeds where I'm on 7 days a week. But like, we're just not there yet. And I keep trying to remind people that's a very slow process. We'll get there. Um, and we'll even have Discord live feeds and stuff where everyone else can provide their input. So it's not just going to be persuadable talking. We will have, Discord group chats and all of that where you all will have a chance to voice your stuff and whatnot. Um, there's big plans, but it's slow and steady, you know. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff planned, man. But we gotta deliver this shit one by one. And this tournament has been the biggest priority. And once we release it, then we can all say, okay, we did it. We all did it. Is Paul Blum's no longer in RVL? No, Paul Blum's retired. He's tired of the competitive gameplay for a little bit, man. I don't know what's gonna happen to him long term, but right now he's actually running this whole tournament too. So I feel demotivated to go to competitive as a PC only player, but maybe someday. You know, that's exactly how one of the top players in China felt as well, and then he eventually transitioned over. So what I will say, it's easier to transition now than what it used to be, because now they actually have controls for the clown and individual characters. You know, Lucino. Back in the day, they didn't. So all of the emulator users before the PC client came out, um, they struggled, and you'll have like a struggle a little bit, but you know, spawn points, routes, they're all the same. You'll get it down. Yeah, Paul Williams is retired. He's running the tournament. I play on a massive iPad. Would they let me play that if I was in COA? No. Not in COA like internationals. I don't know about regionals, but then if you play on that, then you'd have to play on a phone if you got to the actual like international tournament. And if I recall correctly, they now allow 2 on our server. So, and what's good though, let me make this clear, is that the more popular we make this, and I'm gonna do some marketing stuff, you know, in the future. I just really needed a break from Identity 5 to enjoy real life and do what I needed to do. And I did what I had to do. Um, but, you know, we got some marketing potential on this server. The bigger we make it, the more tournaments we have, which I have a pretty good plan on. The more competitive this server becomes, the more likely folks like you can make it to China. You know, like NAEU last year had 2 teams go to China. I don't know how that doesn't motivate you all, because it doesn't even, who gives a fuck about rival? Like that, if I wanted to go to China, like I'd be making a team right now like crazy and being like, yo, we can make it there, like with the right team, right? But next year, there's going to be more teams who are more competitive based on what we're going to do. There's going to be more tournaments, more time to learn. This is the time. If you've ever wanted to be an esports player, if you ever wanted to add to your resume that you're a professional player, this is the golden fucking time. This is literally the #1 tournament to get started in. Because then you're going to have the COA regionals to get started in. And then if you don't make it through the COA regionals, you know, as the 2 teams that represent our server, the bigger we become, NetEase isn't going to be able to shut y'all down. It's not going to happen. We got too big. This is the biggest tournament in fucking Identity 5 history. If anything, you know, the bigger of a tournament we have, the more competitive teams we have, you know, there may be a day where we can send 4 teams out to China. You know, you got to think big. Right now, we got 2, and we've never done anything like this, and we may have a whole league and everything next year if we do it the right way from our level. This is the time. Get the experience, practice, you know. Talk shit when you need to talk, get mad when you got to get mad, whatever, but come back and ask people questions and learn. Try to be productive. You know, you guys have great opportunities. You really, really do. And that's because of the work that Rival's been doing all these years, and as well as others as well, to make it so now we have 2. You know, but you give us the opportunity, the bigger this becomes, the stronger it becomes, then we can start fighting to go to other areas, and there's so much potential. We'll just have to wait for it to happen. So we'll see. We need 7 more professional teams for a pro league. We need 8 professional leagues for a pro league with NetEase. We do not need 8 professional leagues to start a pro league here to build up towards a pro league that's sponsored by NetEase. And we all sit around, twiddle on our fucking thumbs doing nothing about it, right? So this tournament is an example of doing something about it. What's a pro league? So that's what China and Japan has. They got pro leagues that go around all year. Like quite literally. Right now I think there's a league going on in Japan, right? So we don't have one here. That's why I keep saying that y'all are at a disadvantage. You guys are gonna go into this tournament thinking that you're supposed to play like pros. Some of those people are playing for 2, 3 months in pro leagues. You don't have that opportunity, so why are you putting yourself on their standard? It makes no sense. Honestly, I would have joined another team, but before I make you go through the paperwork, I will just join next opportunity when we get a tourney. Yeah, but that sounds like procrastination to me, if you want me to be honest with you. You're making excuses as to why you're not putting yourself out there right now. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? The next tournament come up, you know what I mean? Oh, well, I didn't have a team, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. It's super easy to fall into that pattern. And at some point, you gotta have somebody tell you, knock it off. Just go like you're a top player. Put yourself. You want to compete. Put yourself out there. Your gut instinct is to defend yourself, but right now you're trying to defend why you didn't do what you would probably want to do. Put yourself out there. There's never going to be a right time to do it. It's the same damn thing that I got to talk about with content creators. Y'all want the fucking best light and the best computer, the best intro, the best outro, the best video editors, blah, 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 blah. Just come out with the damn video. Stop making excuses. You know, you're just gonna find reasons not to do what you want to do. And you don't and for some reason no one's holding you accountable. Right? Like I'm gonna come off like a dick right now, but I've played with you. You're a good player. Stop finding reasons as to why you can't compete. Stop trying to find the best fucking circumstances to all align themselves. When you look at the star, whether you look at when you look at the stars at night, whether you think it or not, they're all in the same damn fucking sequence. That's why we got the Big Dipper. You're gonna so when you go in there and you find excuses as to why you can't compete, you're gonna find the same damn excuses you're doing now. The same excuses, just a different flavor. Coke and Pepsi, I don't care about the little tiny differences. They both suck asshole, and you shouldn't drink either one of them. So what's going to happen is the next tournament, you're going to have the fucking Pepsi excuses of your Coca-Cola, and you're going to find a reason to drink it. Don't. Cause diabetes. Allie, I know you personally, so I know that you're gonna enjoy that. If I didn't know you so personally, I would not be that aggressive. Put yourself out there, man. You know what we're gonna have to do to start this tournament off? We're gonna have to go persuadable versus sprinter 1-on-1. That's what we gotta do. And then I'll get my fucking ass cheeks clapped. And then everybody else will feel good about themselves because nothing will be as bad as that. We might as well. Everybody DM Sprinter. Tell them when the tournament starts, 1v1 persuade. I'll play Pharaoh Lady, whatever the fuck her name is. Never played her before. Play her for the first time. 1v1 Sprinter, the best hunter in the game. And then when I get my ass cheeks clapped, it sets the tone, y'all be fine. Y'all know I'd be talking shit to Sprinter that whole time. Y'all know that, right? Y'all aware of that? It don't matter if I lose. I'll be. I'll bring Schmitty in that so Sprinter gonna watch my ass on that damn rocket chair, and I'll bring Snooze so it gets reduced by 9% just to give me more time to talk shit to Sprinter. That's what I am willing to do. Oh man, I don't know how he deals with me. Oh man. Persuadable, is there a new link to your Discord server? Yeah, I keep posting links that expire. Still trying to learn about that. I'm sorry. Also, I went to turn volume up, but then yeah, my bad. Hold on, let me turn this up a little bit. There we go. So that is a strategy that I feel people underlook. If I was coach right now, I'd probably I mean, I don't know. I feel like people can dissect this, which would be okay. But I do feel like that I would be telling all survivors to run snooze because in tournament gameplay, you're not always looking for the win. There's times where you really need the tie. And if you run snooze, especially against characters like Sangria, it's a little difficult on on maps like Red Church. But if you can slow the decoding down, you're more likely to tie that match and not take a full loss, or you're more likely to at least get one survivor out, which prevents the 5-man. I can tell you right now, snooze in a tournament is underrated, especially in a tournament like this. Because ultimately, if your hunter can get 5 people out, I'm sorry, if your hunter can eliminate 4 people and you get one person out, you win the round. You win the round, you got a point, an overall point. Even if you have 2 very good hunters or 2 decent hunters, all you got to do is get one survivor out. You gotta reshape your brain like that. It's not about just winning or losing anymore. You got tie factors and you get snooze in, especially against hunters who are not running the meta. And you run snooze as a survivor crew, you're gonna fuck them up. You're gonna buy your team a lot of time to decode. So. Okay, so you can point at me. Is there a way I can squeeze into the tourney, or is it too late? Oh, I think it's too late at this point because all of the things are accounted for. I'd probably I'd talk to Tara and Paul to see what happens. Because if there is a team that doesn't show up, then we're gonna have a backup team ready. So at least for the preliminaries, I'd talk to them though. Put yourself on a list of some sort. I'm of age, please. I can be a mail order bride. Just ship me. Are you asking me to marry you? I'm confused. Is that what that joke is? I'm of age, please. I can be a mail order bride. Just ship me. Oh, that's precious. That's funny. It's funny because you actually think I'm worth being a mail order bride. That's a thing. What is a mail order bride? Mail order bride. Why does this? This is a thing? A mail order bride is a woman who lists herself in catalogs or on online dating sites and seeks to marry someone from another country. Siri, bookmark. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't even own Apple products. Don't get mad at me. I did not know that was a thing. That's a thing. You could actually. Yeah, but this is kind of sad though because these women are often from developing countries and are motivated by the desire for a better life and limited economic opportunities at home. See, that just destroys the destroys my joke. That's sad. No, you cannot mail order bride yourself to me, although I think I'm flattered. That makes me sad though. People feel like they have to do that though. No, man. Anyways, I'm 34. I'm 34. You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for your mom. Single moms. I'll buy us an SUV. I'm prepared for the soccer mom life. I'm ready for it. We're good. You know what I mean? This whole, I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't understand. I, we're gonna avoid this. I don't understand him. But that's fine. We're okay. We'll learn. But anyways, I know you were just joking, but I just dropped down a rabbit hole there because I've heard of, honestly, I've heard of male order brides. Is that the term? I didn't know. I genuinely never knew that was a thing. Apparently, I've been living under a rock because there's like all these websites. The #1 Colombian dating site. The best Japanese dating site. It's crazy. I don't even know how they do this because I still get confused by the United States postal system. So I don't even know how you do this one, but that's fine. Anyways, I'm sorry. I know you're sad right now. They just wrote all okay with a sad face. I'm sorry. You deserve better than being a mail order bride, though. Like, you deserve better than that. Don't. Because then what's going to happen is some man or person is going to use that against you. That doesn't sound like a happy life. You know, I'm actually sad right now. I know you were just joking. I know you were, but like, I shouldn't have Googled it because now I feel sad. What the fuck am I doing? What were you talking about? You know what? So anyways, we were talking about Rival. Fuck Rival. No, I'm just, I'm just kidding. So what's Snooze? Snooze is a perk or feature or persona that reduces rocket chair time decode by 9%. So pretty much if you suck like I do, I bring Snooze in rank mode every time. Because then if I have a really, like, not that good of a kite, then the hunter has to camp me more. Because it slows down the rocket decoding speed by 9%. I think Snooze is incredibly underestimated, both in rank and tournament gameplay. What was that question? Then why didn't you bring back your mama to that tournament? Which tournament are you referring to, Shiden? I'm sorry. I had to create a new account ever since losing my old one. Yeah, same here, Churro. Are you going to have kids? Am I going to have kids? That's funny. So am I going to have kids? So me personally, I don't really care about having kids. I don't feel this urge to have them. But like, I was in a relationship where I was with a woman who was like on the fence. So I always told them that, I work for a career. I have, between my professional career, between the streaming and the networking. So if I were to ever have kids, I feel like the burden would be on her, to be honest with you. And I don't think that's fair. I think the biggest grievance that you can do, the biggest mistake you can do is pretend that you would be like oh, like I want kids, and then expect the woman to sacrifice everything. For me, it's like, I don't mind kids. I think I'd be a great father, but at the same time, I don't feel like an urge to have them. So at this point in my time, without having any kids, if we were to have them, you must understand that as somebody who travels for a living and has big career goals, that I am career oriented. And from that point, we would have to make an educated decision. If I were to have kids on accident, then I wouldn't be in that position where I would be able to say those things, because then at that point, both parties would have to do what's necessary if the decision is to have the kid. But if it was something that would be planned, then it would be under the pretense that I wouldn't rob you of having kids if this is your goal. And I don't hate kids either, so, but, you know, I'd obviously have to pull my weight, but there must be the understanding that if we're doing this because you want it, then it's like if you were to have a dog. If you want a dog, then I'll take it out once in a while, but like for fuck's sake, it's your dog. And I know that sounds arrogant as possible. However, if I set that tone with you and you're in agreement with it and it gives you what you want and I get what I want, then at the same time you have to compromise, and that's a tough conversation. I think the biggest tragedy is when you have a man that really, really wants kids and then they expect the woman to do all the sacrifices, they don't contribute, and they're deadbeat. I think that's the worst tragedy. But I think that being a father would depend in terms of the circumstances, the expectations, but then at the same time, there also must be the understanding that if you were to agree consensually to such, that you must understand that if you're with somebody who has never been a mother before, that she can have all good intentions, all great expectations, but if you were to accept that idea, you must be willing to understand that as a man, you must compromise, because at the end of the day, if it becomes too much, then you must step up to the plate and not hold that against them, because you're still a man and you still willingly consented, knowing that things don't always go in according to plan. So there's a lot of trust. That's tough for me to answer. Do you see the variables at play? Do you see how complex that is? Eh. But I'm only 34, so maybe, well, only 34. My shit's drying up probably. I would assume. Doesn't feel that way, but I'm sure it is. So, I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not big into relationships. Well, I feel like I'm drying up. My skin's drying up. I would assume that my fertility is eventually running out. Is that a thing? I don't know. 34. You know what I mean? Like, guys, I'm getting older. What the fuck do you want me to say? It's a real conversation. We're doing good over here. My heart is pumping hard and the blood is flowing good in this body, but I'm still 34. I'm not 21. I would assume it's going to catch up to me eventually. What do you want me to do, chat? You want me to pretend like I'm a god? Come on now. This is a real conversation. Been no issues yet, but I also didn't have back pain at 21, and I get it once in a while. I'm sure the creek is. I don't think it's as populated as what it once was. This is a real life. This is the aging process, guys. Whether you fucking like it or not, you're so nervous about it. I embrace it. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not worried about. I don't know. I'm very happy. Where I'm at in life. I don't know if I need to change it. I don't think I need to add kids. Some of y'all end up marrying people you don't love. You settle down for men that don't drive you wild. You marry boring fucking people. Or on the opposite side, I remember being part of a relationship where I once made this person laugh all the time, and like 2 years in, they hated everything I said. The idea that you'd have to be married to that for 20 years, and I know it comes down to compatibility and things like that, but it's like, so I'm telling you, man, people marry people because they feel like their friends are getting married. Like, yo, nah. Unless I'm head over heels and madly in love with someone, unless I got that Disney magic, oh, that's not realistic. I don't know, man. All I'm saying is that I've probably seen 300-400 people pass away in front of me, and I can tell you that I've had hundreds of times where men say, oh, this is the best woman I've ever married in my life. I'm so lucky to have them. And maybe that's where they're at in their final stages. But in my mind, I'm like, why would I ever settle for less? I'm happy. I'd rather die childless with no marriage, nothing like that, than to be part of something that I feel obligated towards. It's that give me so much anxiety. And what's weird now too is that like being 34, especially if I go on dates and stuff like that, you can definitely tell when a woman feels like she just needs to settle down because she's expected to, or she lived a wild life and she's ready to settle down, or she lived a very conservative life and she didn't put herself out there. But it's like at the end of the day, like, are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing this because your loved ones in society is telling you to do it? And that's why that's nah, man, I don't know. I don't know. If like I said, if I meet somebody that I'm nuts over, you don't gotta ask yourself, you don't gotta question it. I'll make all the moves, I'll do everything. You're fine. That's what I've always done historically. There was somebody that I flew out in less than 2 months and kissed them in the first 5 minutes of meeting them. I was like, yo, I'm about to kiss you. You better dodge me. You ain't gonna worry about that. I ain't shy when it comes to that. I'll make sure that you feel comfortable too. But like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just that unless I feel that magic and stuff, I just don't want to waste my time. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste your time either. You know how nice it is to be able to go to my professional career and then not have to answer to anybody, not have to ask permission, not have to worry. And it is a selfish thing, but it's also like I've been with people where I'm like, okay, I'm okay not being selfish. But then I've also been with people where I'm like, man, this is miserable. And so I'm not against relationships. I think they can be great. I've dated so many wonderful women. I've been part of so many wonderful relationships. But being a traveler, I've decided to dedicate my life to the patients of America. So I live and move all the time. I go to places where there's no medical care, and I have dedicated my whole life to that. I'm away from my mother and father. I'm away from relationships. I haven't seen my real life best friends in 5+ years, but that's the life that I've chosen, and that with that comes sacrifices. But at the end of the day, one day when I die, I know that I've contributed back to society in a way that I deem is morally the best of my ability. And that's tough. That's tough for a woman to accept. That's tough to have children with. But right now, all I know is that I'm doing what I know. I'm never going to look back and regret this because I know consistently for the past 5 years, I've had so many opportunities. I've met thousands of people. I've met thousands of patients, families. I've helped people go home that have never thought that they would ever go home. And with that, unfortunately, comes the sacrifice of family, love, relationships. Tried to make it work, usually fails in terms of like relationships and stuff. So, but like the thing is, here's the weird thing though. Like I know like right now I'm getting a little like, you know what I mean? Like right now I'm kind of like low tone, and I think that's important to have low energy, high energy moments, but this is a serious conversation. I don't go to bed sad. I don't go to bed wishing that I had somebody there. I don't go to bed nothing like that. You know what I feel sad about sometimes? I feel sad when a patient passes away and their family members are far away, and I know that I had those last moments with them, and I feel selfish because there's so many loved ones like within your own family that would have wished for anything upon this world to have that final few moments with you. And instead it was a random guy with a beard. That's what I feel sad about sometimes. You know what I don't feel sad about? Some little shithead kid throwing a fucking goo goo gaga thing at my face. Uh, I don't feel sad if I accidentally leave the seat up. Actually, that's not true. I usually sit peeing down because you don't have to clean as much. Like you gotta clean inside the toilet bowl, but then you don't gotta worry about the rim. You know what I mean? So you should definitely sit down and pee. There's not a lot of scientific evidence in terms of the bladder. There is a little bit uh, with uh, with bigger prostates, there's a little bit of evidence that sitting down might be easier. Then when you lean forward, you reduce and relax your pelvic muscles. So I'd make the argument it's easier on the bladder. Plus the pressure and gravity. You can say the same thing with standing there. It's not the same thing. I don't feel like I have enough evidence behind me. I don't know. Maybe we can contact like Harvard or something and we can get some high quality cameras, look at the splash radius. Although uncircumcised men, it gets a lot more difficult when you get older because the genitalia are more likely to retract in. We're having a conversation here. This is an important conversation. So nobody ever talks about that, but that's a tough one. Anyways, what were we talking about? We were talking about, oh yeah, Rival. Yeah. So anyways, I think they're gonna get their asses kicked in the next year or two. That's where we left off, right, chat? Chat, I'm so sorry. That was a good segue. You guys, yeah, you don't even know. I thought you were gonna start with fuck Rival. No, they all know I love them. You know, honestly, if I knew they couldn't handle those jokes, I would never say them. Let's see. Are you drinking today? I am not drinking today. The only thing that I am drinking though is water, which I need to refill. Let me actually refill the water because I haven't had a glass of water since the stream. No, we got too much COVID going around, man. Too much COVID going around. Are you all gonna cheer with me? I swear, if I'm the only one drinking water right now, I feel like I'm the only one that's skinny dipping. And then I come out, but it's cold out. Like, I swear to God, it's not normally like this. It's just very cold outside. Y'all better, I swear to God, if none of you fill your water right now, we're gonna wait. We're all gonna do a toast. We're all gonna do a toast. I'm gonna give you all, we're gonna time this. I'm giving you all 2 minutes. And I only accept the water because I also just went 2 hours without any water there. So you all better get water. We're gonna do this together. If you lie to me, keep that stuff to your Tinder profile, your Bumble, your Hinge, your Facebook dating profile, your Match.com, your OkCupid. Don't ask me how I know about all these. eHarmony. Anyways, let's move on. Still don't understand why I don't get any matches on any of them. They're all broken. But that's fine. We'll talk about that. It's a different day, different time. Fine. I'm okay. All right, we got 60 more seconds and we're all toasting with water. Okay? We're going to do a toast. I prepared this speech. I don't know. I'm making up time. Maybe 40 seconds. I don't know. I always say it was 20 minutes. She said it was 4. Time's a little... Oh God, I wish I actually had some beers on me. I would be able to handle myself. I do it. Jeez. Yeah, we have ADHD time. It's going differently for us. All right, you ready? I know I indirectly drink water when I'm eating, but it must be weird, isn't it? You have to drink water. We ready? Do you remember the time that Israeli tried to change the rule for prisoner called prisoner? Glad I stopped reading that. All right, we're ready. Are we ready? Here we go. For those who are actually joining me with your water, where I come from, we say water. We don't say water. We say water. That's how I talk if I don't think. Gonna drink some water here. Here's a toast. When I think of the word toast, I think like you're toast, like you're screwed. So here's a toast to eventually the server getting so good that rival becomes toast. Fuck y'all. Just kidding. I love you guys. I love you, rival. I miss you guys. I wish I was your coach again, but I'm not good enough, so I'm just talking shit. Just it's insecurity. Anyways, drink the fucking water. Cat. We stay hydrated. Your pee is gonna be less stinky and a little bit less yellow. And you know what yellow rhymes with? Mellow. And that's how we've been throughout this entire chat. And we need to amp it up a little bit. But I just don't have the energy because I have way too many patients on my caseload. And I'm tired. Anyways, chat. So I'm gonna go. It is time for me. I am gonna drink another glass of water though. I hope that you all are taking good care of yourselves. If the only concern you have with me being your mail order bride, I will absolutely pay for shipping and dude, some of you ladies are wild. Jeez, what? I fucking can't, dude. Chat, I gotta go. I can't, yo. Who writes that? Oh, dear Lord. Okay, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good evening. Thank you so much for having a good sense of humor. I will do my best to be on live feed tomorrow. However, I opened up my Discord server for private DMs from the tournament server, and there are individuals who are messaging me about being nervous and anxious, so I would like to prioritize them tomorrow. I've answered many tonight, didn't get to all of them, and then I'd like to prioritize that. But if I can get through a lot of them, then we'll be back on live feed. We'll see if there's any teams that feel comfortable coming on live feed tomorrow night because the preliminaries start tomorrow. They're all offline up until Saturday. But if there are teams that are willing to go on live feed to show their gameplay, maybe we can live feed it. But my number one priority is talking to those people out there who have a lot of nerves. So, um, Persuadable, can you please shout out my friend Glarg? Glarg! Hello there, Glarg! How are you doing? This is my manly voice. This is what I'd talk like if I was on a chat line. But I'm not on any of them because I don't know how to get to them. But if I did, I'd be on them all day, all night, every day, talking like this with my big manly voice. Some say that I'm 5'9", but others say I'm 9'5". The real question is what part are we measuring? No, seriously, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I have long forearms. They're not they're not big, but they're long. And sometimes I feel like Slender Man. I don't know. You know, do you remember back in the 90s the big like green things with like the gummy? You know, that's how I feel sometimes. Anyways, okay, that's my insecurities coming out. Anyways, guys, I gotta get some fucking sleep. I am exhausted. It's to the point where somebody actually thought that I was having some beers tonight. And now, normally, I love my beers on live feed. I do the best that I can to stay under 2. That's what the DSM-5 says. But quite literally, I am at 0. And that is how fucking sleep deprived I am. So y'all have a good night. I'll see you all on Discord tomorrow. I'm getting some sleep. Bye bye now. Thank you for spending your valuable time.